Buenas tardes, damas y caballeros. Bienvenidos al Campo Lealtad del Parque La Loma en Tepic, Nayarit, México. Para el partido número 55 por la medalla de bronce de la segunda edición de la Copa Mundial Juvenil de Béisbol 5. Equipo local de México. Los jugadores titulares son, con el número 13, Axel Adrián. De primera base, Ludovic Melier de Francia. Oficial de segunda base, Pablo Alberto Muñoz García de México. Oficial de tercera base, Orlando Valle Álvarez de México. Y el oficial de mesa, Rubén Baena de México. Ahora, damas y caballeros, les pedimos que nos pongamos de pie los que podamos hacerlo, nos quitemos los sombreros y escuchemos respetuosamente las notas del himno nacional de Venezuela. Agradecemos su atención y de igual manera les pedimos mantener respeto para escuchar las notas del himno nacional de México.
Well, good evening and welcome back to Parque La Loma in Tepic, Nayarit, Mexico for the bronze medal game at this 2025 WBSC Youth Baseball 5 World Cup. Craig Durham and Tony Alvarez, happy to have you with us for the first of the last two games at this tournament. And what a pair of matchups we have for you tonight, beginning, Tony, with Mexico and Venezuela.
Craig, great to be here with you. It's been a fun tournament. It's been a fun Youth Baseball 5 World Cup. And here, well, we can talk about how Mexico can try and get another bronze medal. Of course, for Venezuela, that would be their first if they were to win. But overall, we can say that we expect a great finale with two great teams. We know that's a fast-paced sport. And, well, I guess these two teams represented real well, and we will see it tonight.
They really have. And Mexico, you know, obviously they have the pressure, right? As the home team in front of the big crowds here at Parque La Loma. They have delivered, you have to say, even going so far as to beat Cuba in the second set of their semifinal matchup last night. That was a real shocker for me because Cuba just almost never loses a set in Baseball 5 play. So I learned something about Mexico last night, that they did not really fold under the pressure. Instead, we saw the best version of that team, and hopefully in front of the home fans for Mexico, they can carry that into today.
It's always important to have that support, but always that pressure of playing in your home soil, it has to mount up at some time. We probably saw it the opening set of the first game against Lithuania. Then they seemed to be really, really settled in, and now over here trying to win hardware tonight.
And as Tony and I, you know, are learning how to call a Baseball 5 game together, we're not going to give you the play-by-play every second because the game speaks for itself, and especially if you've been watching along with us on YouTube, on Facebook, however you found us through the WBSC channels, we're so happy you're here. But we have so much to talk about through the week. We will, though, as the pressure mounts on the bigger plays, like that great play at second base, be sure to point out a strong throw. And, Tony, you mentioned the speed, and you just don't have time to think. So it's a game about reaction, and these players, they have some of the quickest reaction times you can imagine.
Oh, yes, and it happened in other games as well, as here a chance for Venezuela would win out. The fact that you have to think, or maybe you don't have time to think, you just react. At times, when you try to get maybe a force out at a base or trying to get an out at first to get the runner that comes out of the batter's box, we see sometimes the frustration mounting for other teammates to say, hey, throw to this base or throw to the other. But when those players are in those positions, then they kind of understand that it's not as easy as it sounds.
Exactly. It's a lot of intensity. And here's a big moment. Runners on second and third with two outs in the top of the first for Venezuela. And a ball put in play by Cortez, and it is caught up the middle. That pitcher position, you have to have the quickest reaction times. Ochoa with a great grab there.
That was a great play. You see right there up the middle, and it's funny because you see a lot of defensive strategy here in this Baseball 5 sport, and especially here with the youth level that we have seen that sometimes even during the innings, we see the players shift from one side of the field to another to try and maybe anticipate what the opponent's going to do and get an out.
Now it's Axel Gonzalez leading off, and he's a great all-around player for this Mexican team. You often find him on top of their batting order. He usually plays the shortstop position defensively. That time he hit it hard and reaches to begin. Now Yair Ochoa, who scares me. Every time he flips the ball up in the air like that, hits it on the left side and safe the call. First and second, something going for Mexico already here in the first inning.
You know, we just get a good look at that on the replay as well. Like you just mentioned, every player will have a different technique to bat, if you will, for the term, of course. And here is a player that is built up a bit different than the rest of the players from the Mexico roster, a bit stronger.
And he hits it hard to second, but out at second. The return throw at first was dropped. Otherwise, we might have seen our first double play of the game. And then he takes second, as Tony has seen throughout the week, and we've all been watching in the development of this game over the years. One of the really interesting tactics is how to call timeout as a defensive team. You have to communicate with the officials, and sometimes the officials don't give it to you just because you raised your arms. The runners on base do everything they can to extend a play, because the longer it goes, the better the chances that something goes wrong on the defensive side and it leads to a run. But again, we wind up in a situation with runners on second and third and 2 outs. Here's Frias. She hits it to short. Throw to first, and a scoreless first inning here in the bronze medal game.
Well, I mean, kind of what we've talked about, just reacting as Gamboa. We've talked about him also off the air. He's just a natural talent here for Venezuela, but you have to get the ball, grab it cleanly, because just a fraction of a second, if you bobble it, it might squirt away from you, and that's a difference between a run or an out.
And Gamboa is going to take second on the overthrow. When you put pressure on the defense like that, sometimes it can slip away. If you hit the ball and it deflects off a defensive player and goes out of play, you don't automatically get the base. But if it's on a throw, you do get that extra base. And now Gamboa coming home, the tag, he's out! Ochoa with the great tag, and this game is still scoreless.
Boy, what a play, what a throw, and we see often many of the players bouncing throws into bases, in this case, home plate. Look at that throw, and kind of picks up the speed, and over there, just interesting also the fact that he was not blocking home. That's another rule that we will get into in a second, but so important. Oh, what a grab there.
Incredible pickup with the bare hand, but Mexico hasn't gotten an out yet. And now we might see, we almost saw the closest you can get to a home run in Baseball 5. Instead, the run does score, and it winds up as a triple. Tony, take us through this one, because you noted that great grab.
Oh, yeah, barehanded with the left hand. That was very, very good, because Armenta, as we see, he probably is a better offensive player than defensive player for Mexico, and this time helping the team now. Interesting, because we'll tell a quick story. As we got here to Tepic, I asked Craig, hey, how often do we see inside the park home runs, if that's a term that's allowed here as well? You said it's not uncommon, but you don't see it as frequently. We were oh so close here.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that I've seen one this week, maybe one or two, but that was really something special. And Frias there with an opportunity to make a catch on a low line drive. Didn't get it cleanly, but now on her next opportunity, stays with it, throws to second, and gets the out. Do you see how fast this game moved?
Yeah.
We've had sets take less than 20 minutes, and just for those of you joining us for the first time, we should probably break it down a little bit, right? We're going to play a best-of-3 set series here, and that's how we'll determine the winner of this bronze medal game. So, for example, let's just say Venezuela leading 2-0. If they were to win this first set, which takes up 5 innings, then we start over. We go back to the first inning, 0-0 the score. We do it again. And if Venezuela were to win 2 in a row, that would be all. If Mexico wins the second set to even it up, then we play a third set tiebreaker by the same rules. It's just another 5-inning mini game within the game. And Mexico's had a habit of playing longer games, the 3-setters, including 2 of them yesterday. A 3-set win over Kenya, and that was how they got into last night's game against Cuba. It was a 3-set loss against Cuba, but they played a lot of Baseball 5 yesterday.
Oh, yes, and even in their opener, there was a 3-set win for them. As we take another look at that one and the technique by Ochoa, you were pointing at a few moments ago, just kind of a small punch to the ball before he actually makes contact to swing at it or give the palm to the ball. Oh, and the fly there.
Oh, a missed opportunity for the double play because, yeah, the catch was made. The initial reaction by Darlene Moreno was to go to third base, but that's what you would have done if you hadn't caught it on the fly. She still did have time to get the double play had it been caught at second base, but maybe some nerves here in the big game because we don't see those types of mental mistakes very often this week. And now Gamboa throws to third, gets it himself, applies the tag, and gets the out.
Boy, and right there, because of the celebration from Gamboa, over there taking an extra base, the other base runner for Mexico, and Moreno and everyone else just shouting to Gamboa, hey, the play is not over because he never called time.
Right.
And that's something that you said a few moments ago. Even if he would have called time, because the runner was moving from one base to another, the umpires have to, grant the time. And also to mention that many times if a player is 1 or 2 steps off of a bag, they might give it to you. But now here with movement on the base runs, on the base, with a runner moving to third, you're not gonna give it because it's an opportunity for the team batting.
So Gamboa, he really is a star, but he's come into this first set a little juiced up. He's really energized, and actually you saw him get thrown out at the plate when Venezuela was batting in the second. A lot of his teammates came up to him and said, hey, there were 0 outs. You did not need to try and score there. And it is a game where you want to play with passion, you want to play with excitement, but you do need to keep yourself in check a little bit. As you saw right there, the celebration that led to the extra base didn't cost Venezuela at all. Mexico does not score, but Gamboa might want to just take a deep breath as he is fired up to be playing in this bronze medal game, and we're fired up to be here. So is the crowd. Tony, You've seen this Mexico crowd grow steadily as we got set and ready to begin.
And it also speaks of the fact that the sport, little by little, it's growing. You were there for the first ever Baseball 5 World Cup at the senior level a few years ago in Mexico City. That was a great turnout and pretty much part of the reason that now at the youth level we have this World Cup here in Tepic, Nayarit. So the sport is growing all around the world.
Absolutely. And we can talk about some of the other participants when we have time. Look out, a heavy collision there. And we hope everybody's okay. You see the head nod from Gonzalez. At first, that was a scary moment, but whenever you see a player nod their head like that, usually it means they're okay, but wow, that had to hurt.
Boy, for a moment, I thought that maybe Armenta was on the wrongest end of that play, but on the collision, you see there the footage once more. Gonzalez over there got hit the lower part of his body by his teammate Armenta, and then in the head by the runner going to second base. So an unfortunate situation as he is now on his feet and receiving a hand from the crowd. Hopefully he can continue.
And look at it, there's a hug there between the two. Yeah, there's the first collision with his teammate. The second collision, just like you said, Tony, with the oncoming Salazar. Holy cow, that might be the biggest collision we've had in this entire tournament.
Yes, probably so. And you can tell also that the intensity's there, right, for both of these teams.
You can say that again.
They want that medal. Of course, Mexico having in the back of their minds that they are the defending bronze medal winners, and Venezuela, this will be the first time they would get hardware.
A little bounce off the hand of Martinez. It goes out of play, and that's what we're saying. The runners don't get an extra base. It's not like a ground rule double in baseball and softball. You don't get penalized as a defensive player for not squeezing it. Because I'm guessing a lot of people at home haven't ever handled a baseball 5 ball, tried to catch one that's hit hard. It's not easy to catch a ball that's designed to bounce, right? That's a key to this game. It has to bounce before anybody makes a play. And it is just impressive to me every time somebody makes a catch.
Especially barehanded. I mean, we're talking about no assistance there, no glove in hand, and as Gamboa comes here to bat, also with a bounce over there, it's tough to get a handle on the ball when it's all over the place. And it's funny because many of the fielders here try to get the ball after it hits the wall to try and maybe get a force if it's near a base or throw to first. And sometimes, literally, the ball doesn't bounce as expected.
Nice catch there. And 2.5 are in the books. You know, you talk about playing the bounce. That's where geometry comes into play, right? I've been talking about geometry more in the last 3 days than I probably have my whole life. It was not a subject I excelled in by any means. But the angles and understanding how the ball is going to come off the wall and also knowing where you want to go with it, second base, third base, after it comes off the wall. It's so impressive.
You know, it plays also for the strategy for a defense. I mean, you kind of get a feel for what the opponent's doing. If you see maybe a player or in a situation that they try, we see a lot how they try to move runners from first to second or even from third, kind of sacrificing themselves with just a soft touch on the other side of the field. And maybe you try to move your quickest player there to get to the ball faster and get an out.
There was Gamboa trying to take it off the wall with the bare hand, and now he'll run across the diamond. That's a good way to get timeout called, is basically force the lead runner back to their base. It's a lot easier when there's only one runner on. But instead of standing there and sort of staring at one another as a defensive player, you can take the initiative, start charging at the runner. Now a hard hit ball up the middle. And by the time Gamboa picked it up, safe at second was Yair Ochoa.
That's another example of trying to play it off the wall, as we saw Gamboa right there stepping on the bag. It was a bit slow there to get the ball to his hands, but that's also a way you can probably save some time, just stepping on a bag and getting the ball.
There's the bunt play that you talked about with the lead runner at third. Sometimes you see the bunt go to first, but that time Abril Martinez just popped it across that no-hit zone. And again, for those of you new to Baseball 5, the line that goes foul line to foul line, that is 3 meters in front of home plate, and the first bounce of the ball has to be on the other side of that line. Now it's bases loaded for Mexico with 1 out. Here's a big at bat, and it's the bunt play again that's going to get Mexico on the board and keep the bases loaded.
That's the first run for Mexico, Craig. The crowd is awakened now, but it's interesting after that bunt. I was surprised to see Gamboa, as here comes manager now, Neualdo Zorrilla, calling timeout to talk to his players. He was playing behind that infield area or very deep, so it's no secret. He's the quickest player for Venezuela, and they just saw that bunt. The player before that took an at-bat for Mexico, executed perfectly. Now again, I was a little surprised to see Gamboa too far from home plate or that area to try and get maybe the force out. So he was the first to get to the ball, but it wasn't quick enough because he was playing so deep, hence the run for Mexico. And now still a big spot with the bases loaded and only 1 away.
Here is Gonzalez. And again, the defensive alignment for Venezuela is deep. They're kind of inviting Mexico to bunt again. Why not, right? And you may have noticed there's no catcher, so you need to have a plan as an infield who's going to go where. They had a plan, did Venezuela, coming out of that timeout to go to third on the hard hit ball, but another run scores, and it's 3-2.
Well, I'm going to go now and say that I'm a little surprised to see Mexico now execute a bunt again. It worked the previous 2 times. They were playing so deep. Why not? Because now you have 2 outs, and the potential tying run is all the way at second.
Watch the way that Ochoa flips the ball. Not right there, but right before he's ready to hit. If he were to drop it, that would count as his turn. There's the flip. And he does try the bunt. First base side. And the out call because he left the batter's box early. If you're the batter trying the bunt play, you need to keep that footwork tight. You got to keep it back and watch. His first step was across the line before the ball had bounced. Great call by Brian Maniecki, the home plate umpire.
Now that's another rule that we invite the people watching all over the world on the WBSC's YouTube channel live and for free to try and And stay with us here because there are some different ruling that we are probably accustomed to in conventional baseball that makes this sport very, very, very interesting. And now we see one of the coaches for Mexico, Jesus Sandoval, approach the officials table just to get some clarification on that play. But we saw it on the replay. Great angle. Great job for the whole production crew here at Tepic, Nayarit for this World Cup that they provide us the footage so we could understand that play that you just explained it.
And you got to respect the way the coaches have, when they do disagree with the officials, they do it in a pretty calm, pretty respectful manner. It's not like old school baseball and softball where you get in somebody's face and start yelling, because positive vibes are actually a core part of Baseball 5. So teams, players, coaches, officials, all encouraged to stay positive throughout. And it really has been a positive tournament for 4 days. And again, this is the second to last game, just one remaining. It'll be the World Championship gold medal matchup between Cuba and Chinese Taipei. And it's going to start not long after this one finishes.
Yeah, so stick around with us because it's going to be another fun game. Just a quick injury report. Axel Gonzalez could not stay in the game. He just went out of it. Still favoring a bit his head there after that contact a couple of minutes ago, trying to defend play at second there.
Yeah.
So he is being attended to. Some ice on his head. He seems to be okay, but just a quick report there.
Good catch, Tony. Helps to have two of us, doesn't it? With so much going on, so much to keep track of.
I just threw my score sheet away. So
I knew I'd get you off the score sheet before long. That was my mission here today. It's not a game where you really need to keep score. It's not a game concerned with stats like traditional baseball and softball. Yes, if you're on WBSC.org, you can check out who has the most hits, who has the most RBIs as far as individuals, which teams have scored the most runs. But that's not what's important. It's not about the numbers. It's only about those two numbers you see there. Venezuela 3, Mexico 2. A diving get, but the ball was never really secured. And so everybody's going to be safe. Venezuela scores again. That's a huge play with 2 outs.
Boy, what a moment. Armenta just kind of trapped the ball under him. The thing is that he reached towards the bag with his left hand, and he did not have the ball secured with the right, so that is safe.
Nice catch there. It wasn't the initial contact for Martinez, but she recovers and squeezes it. Have you noticed only a lot of defensive players have taken to picking up the ball and using that to touch the base?
Oh, yes. Yes, that has been something that I've noticed throughout this Youth Baseball World Cup. I have also noticed that as quick and fast-paced a game it is, during the innings and the players, trying to create chaos on the bases, it gets late quickly for the teams that are behind also. Here, 4th inning, Mexico down 3, which means they are down to their final 2 at-bats in this set, so they need something to get going.
Good start with a leadoff base runner. Yeah, I think I've noticed more in this World Cup than any of the previous World Cups. An early lead means everything. You play differently when you're ahead. And like you said, time slips away from you very quickly if you don't have that early lead. Now a nice read by Gamboa to back up on the ball. Not easy to turn the sort of 6-4-3 style double play. That was the attempt there.
And you know what, Craig, also, sometimes you believe that if you are the home team, you get some sort of advantage during a game. In this case, trying to establish the rhythm of the game, if you're the visiting team and you can get, like you just said, on top early and you can score, 3-4 runs early on, that kind of sets the tone for the rest of the set. So probably being a visiting team, it's something to consider at times if you get a draw in your favor.
That's a good call. I haven't really thought about that much, but yeah, if you top of the first, score 2 runs, you're in a good position. Obviously, batting last has its own benefits, and I'm sure Mexico, if they're going to be behind when we get to the 5th, and unless they score 3 here, they will be. They're going to enjoy having the last chance. Deception is another part of the game that we'll talk about throughout the day. We saw an example of it from Gamboa earlier here. He bluffed to throw to first, trying to get the runner to maybe take a couple of steps off the base. Didn't work, and now Ochoa smashes it into the wall. That's the 3rd out that sends us to the 5th. You want to talk about how different it is to see a sport where you're not trying to hit it off or over the wall?
Yes, that's something to consider. Of course, just a quick recap on the ruling. If on a line drive the ball hits first the fence or it goes over it, that does not count. That's an out. And it's funny because you kind of explained it perfectly when we both arrive here to Nayarit, that every play has to do straight with scoring something. So no such thing as a foul ball that counts as a strike or something like that. So keep an eye on those plays. Of course, if a ball hits first and foul ground, that's an automatic out. If it hits the fence or it goes over, that's an automatic out. So it goes straight to what they do on the field.
Martinez couldn't squeeze it on the hard throw. Espinosa's the one who came in for Gonzalez and led Mexico to move some pieces around. Great hustle from Gamboa out of the box. And Salazar is going to be the hitter here. I think the Mexico coaching staff, and I understand what they're doing. I think what they're looking for is Gamboa to get called for leaving the box early. We saw one of those calls already. But you're not going to really see calls get changed, I don't think. There's no replay.
Exactly.
And nor should there be in a game that's built around the concept of speed. So, you know, anytime you go as a coaching staff to talk to the officials, oh, look at this. They're actually taking a look at Gamboa's hands.
That's a first.
That is a first. I wonder if they're saying, I think I did see what they're looking at. He has something dark on his fingers, and they're wondering if it's some sort of sticky substance.
Wow, this is new to everyone.
Yeah.
Not only us. And the officials are taking a look at that. Oh boy.
It's going to be okay.
Boy, I don't know if that's powder-ish substance over there. Well, Gamboa's enjoying himself over there in first base. He's having a blast, but I'm not exactly sure if, first, if it's allowed, or second, if he actually used whatever the Mexican coaching staff is talking about. It is powder from what they're, some kind of chalk.
Maybe like a baby powder even.
Right.
Just something to dry your hands. This is entirely new territory in a Baseball 5 game to be even talking about this. And now a couple of the officials are having a more extended conversation. We're in the top of the fifth inning. This is the first set in a best of three. And the substance is going to be removed from the Venezuela bench.
Boy, this is something you and I will be talking about, and probably everyone watching back home for years to come.
Wow, some fifth inning controversy here. The bottle is being brought over to the scorer's table. And credit the DJ too. You know, this is a good opportunity to talk about the atmosphere that's been created at Parque La Loma. How many sports where the DJ features prominently in the in-game action? The officials continue to look at the substance in question here. We should add, too, that these players go through the same anti-doping protocols that you would get at any other international sporting event. And after every game, players are selected at random. So I think the issue here has been addressed. And credit the Mexican coaching staff for even noticing that.
Right, yeah, you and I didn't, so we are probably closer to the Venezuela bench than the Mexican coaching staff. Now, of course, after this situation happened, the Mexican coaching staff is expecting some kind of, I don't know, I don't even know if we should call it penalty, because then again, we have not seen this before.
Correct.
And now more officials are giving an explanation there to the manager for Mexico, as Tania Gonzalez is over there receiving it. We might not see anything else happen, just the fact that the bottle of
whatever,
exactly.
Yeah, we don't know what it was.
Sure. We just see a bottle, but not exactly sure what's in it. It's no longer in the bench, and it will not be used for the rest of the game. If in fact that it was used, because we're not exactly sure, but they noticed it on the Mexico bench, and you guys are ready to continue. But this is going to be an interesting talking point for years to come.
As we get a bounce to third here, throw to second out there on the force out. They get the lead runner. And Venezuela now with 2 outs in the top of the fifth. Really nice play by Frias, backing up on that ball. It is easier, and I say easier, it's not easy, it's very hard, but it's easier to play a baseball 5 ball off a hop. And that's why sometimes instead of a throw to first, you'll see a bounce from one fielder to another. But the underhand flip, that's also an easy ball to handle, trying to catch it. And Mexico gets out of the 5th inning without allowing any more runs for Venezuela. 5-2 the score, going to the bottom of the 5th. This first set not yet a half hour old, even despite the little conversation we just had. So now it's a tall task. Mexico obviously just 2 runs through the first 4 innings. Can they score 3 here in the 5th to score extras? Can they score 4 here to walk off winners? Well, that's a tough way to start. Foul ball, out number 1. Like Tony said, every play is an action play, no foul balls. And it's no time to despair, but still difficult to bounce back from your leadoff hitter getting themselves out. It's kind of an unforced error, right? When you hit it short of the no-hit zone, when you hit it off the wall, or when you hit it foul. Now Martinez tries the bunt play. And there's 2 outs. Not looking good for Mexico here in the first set, but like we've talked about, they have lost first sets before that they have then come back and won the game by winning the next 2 sets. And they like playing these 3-setters. So let's see what happens with the rest of this one. It's to Gamboa, who goes across the diamond, and Venezuela takes the first set. Final score 5-2 in 5 innings. So now we will wipe the slate clean, reset, and get ready for set number 2 in just a few moments. Tony and I will step away, and we'll be back with you for the second set. Venezuela now 1 5-inning set away from a bronze medal finish. And we begin set number 2. Venezuela taking the first set 5-2, and if they win this next one, they will go home with the bronze medal. Craig Durham and Tony Alvarez, happy to have you with us in Tepic, Nayarit at Parque La Loma. What a perfect venue it has been.
Oh, yes, it has been in a great tournament, in a great place here. And again, we see more people asking about the sport, getting involved, and look at this play.
Wow, Gamboa is able to score from first. You know, he had some overly aggressive base running early in the first set where he was thrown out at home plate. This time he read the defense. He saw nobody covering home. See, there he is on second, and when that ball went away from second base, he was able to come all the way around, now jogging home. And scoring for Venezuela is Ricardo Salazar. And Tony, trouble for Mexico.
And kind of what we talked about a set ago. Already, yes, half inning, but Venezuela's on top 2-0. Of course, Mexico can come back and tie it and all that. But just the momentum, that factor that we see for this Venezuela team. And now the ball get away and an extra base there for Porteles. So just for Mesa, just the little things that kind of set the tone for the rest of the game, or in this case, the set. It could really be an advantage just to go on top quickly, and the way you do it as well.
That was a throw that really didn't have to be made. And Abril, it's not Martinez, sorry, it's Frias over at first base, who did what we were talking about, tagged the base with the baseball 5 ball. But for the runner going from first to second, that's one of those where you just run at them as a defender instead of making the throw that risks an extra base. And now a fair ball down the line. Throw comes home, but it goes out of play. And this could not be going better for Venezuela to start the second set. Mexico is going to be chasing at least a 3-run deficit.
And that's another thing, that when you have a runner at third and you will at least have in your mind the idea of getting it out at home, you have to attack home plate real quickly. Somebody has to be there to be ready for the throw. And in this case for Mexico, just a lack of coordination there. It's tough, and you're already down 3-0. And you see probably for Venezuela, they are not only getting that run, that extra base, the momentum, they're executing their game plan. For Mexico, a lack of execution at times. And we also see Venezuela with the cleanest hands, as we see also here Mesa with an issue.
Yeah, Maria Mesa is touching her head. I didn't see anything. She wasn't involved in a play. I don't know if any of the cameras picked it up. It could have just been even a celebration with a teammate where you miss on the high five. Like, that's how fired up the Venezuela team is. But she appears well enough to stay in the game. Oh, here it is. Look, at home plate. Oh, wow. Direct hit from Yair Ochoa.
Wow, that's, of course, an accident, but out of all the ways you could get hit on the head, it happened in between innings.
I'm trying to figure out why Mesa was kneeling on home plate the way she was as the entire Mexico team was coming in from recording the final out. It has been a quirky bronze medal game, and we're glad to have you with us, and we invite you to stay tuned for the World Championship final. It'll take place just over an hour from now. It's set to begin. Chinese Taipei and Cuba, the two teams playing for the title of world champion. As a force out at second will be the first out of the bottom of the first inning. Cuba has won all 3 previous Baseball 5 World Cup championships. They beat Japan in 2022 to claim the world championship in Mexico City. That was the first Baseball 5 World Cup. They beat France in the Baseball 5 Youth World Cup in Turkey in 2023. And then just last year in Hong Kong, China, it was another Cuba-France matchup for the World Championship, and Cuba won that one as well. So Chinese Taipei, for the first time, will be appearing in a championship game. And if you ask me, they've looked like the team to beat. So that's going to be an exciting final.
That's going to be very, very fun. So stick around here at the WBSC's YouTube channel, free and live all around the world, so you cannot miss the action. And look at that play also. That's something we see frequently. Force outs, especially at second and third. When a situation presents itself, it's probably easier if a ball is hit towards that area instead of trying to turn and throw to first.
I think as far as the mental aspect of the game goes, you talk about how many force outs we see, not at first base. You need to have a plan before the batter swings their arm, their right arm, left arm, whatever it is, before they make contact with the ball. Wherever you are as a defensive player, you need to know, if it comes to me, I'm going here. And it's amazing to me how everybody makes the right call 9 out of 10 times. Obviously the easiest call to make when nobody on base, go to first. And nicely done. Knowing where to go is only half the battle.
Right.
It's really hard to make an accurate throw. And just as hard to catch it. You think first base is an easy job. Not in Baseball 5. As you have to deal with throws, some of them hard, some of them on a bounce, some of them coming from unusual angles. And of course you have to be prepared to field it yourself. Nice throw there by Venezuela, who plays third base regularly for Mexico. And now a throw from deep in the hole. Frias has to dive up the line and can't corral it. So a 2-out base runner for Venezuela.
And here's an interesting way to play defense for Mexico. Frias, which is probably the tallest player for Mexico, she is, well, one to have a long stride. So that is something that has been taken for them as an advantage, because sometimes some throws could be a little short or a little wide, and she, with her body being also as tall and, you know, that long stride and long arms, etc., Mexico has taken advantage defensively of that. We've seen good plays at first by her.
And now a ball up the middle. Everybody's going to be safe. Bases loaded. Just a last note on Oliva Frias. In the splits more often than any other player at this tournament. I mean, she can go flat like a gymnast. It's amazing. And you need that, like you said, to maximize your chances of getting it out at first base. But a big moment here. Bases loaded, 2 outs. It's a one-hopper to second. And Mexico is able to escape without allowing a run. But after an inning and a half, it's Venezuela 3, Mexico nothing. Did not have to go into the splits to make that play. And it's a tough game. I'll tell you what, it looks easy, and you think, well, kids could play this game, and they can, and they do.
Yes.
But to play it at this high level, it is really impressive. And now you've got Jesus Espinoza leading off for Mexico. Good placement of that ball, up the middle.
That's another strategy that, you know, teams have developed as the tournament has moved on, and over here in the last 2 games of the World Cup, is that it's pretty easy to say hit them where they ain't, but you have to execute better. And whoa, what a double play there. Look at that. I mean, that's exactly also what we've talked about. You have to be well positioned, and it speaks to the strategy. Mesa, I mean, she knew that in that situation he was going to get a hard hit ball. And also for Mexico on the other end, well, just at the contact, you have to try and get to the other base quickly. But if you end up in a situation where it's caught on a line drive, you're in no man's land if you're at first.
Now a diving effort, Gamboa from deep in the hole. He got a lot on that throw. Bounces off the hands of Moreno at first base. Watch the elevation here. Right in front of the camera, and you know what? The throw got there in time. But like we said, it's so hard to make that catch without a glove. On this beautiful evening here in Tepic, the crowd continues to grow. Gamboa makes the catch in front of the fence, and 2 innings are in the books. I'm not sure we've had a lot of games played at this time of day, I guess evening. The sun splashing through center field. This is magic.
It is, and you see there also shining on Gamboa. It's tough to, as you said, to catch it without the assist of a glove. It's even tougher when you're going to your knees, preventing the ball from hitting first on the ground. Kind of a basket catch, but with a higher level of difficulty there.
So Venezuela scoring all 3 runs in the first inning, nothing in the second. They start the third with a base runner. That was Mesa who started the double play. And she'll be aboard. Rounding first base, she kind of bumped into Frias. Those 2 shaking hands after the friendly bump.
Well, you got to love the sportsmanship shown by all of the teams involved here in the World Cup. During and after the game, they shake their hands. It's something that you don't really see in other sports.
Speaking of sportsmanship, oh, nice play right there to take away from that story. I just peeked over at field 2. Chinese Taipei and Cuba playing for the gold medal after this. They are warming up side by side. They're sharing smiles and high fives in their pregame warm-ups. Pretty cool to see, as Alexander Gamboa absolutely crushes it to third base. Too hot to handle for Etzi Valenzuela. And it is a 1-out, 2-on setup for Venezuela, looking to build on a 3-0 lead. And they get the double play. It's not an easy play to turn with so little room between the bases, but if you're in the right place at the right time, you can get it done. Mexico just got it done. They had to, as we're halfway through the second set. Venezuela took the first. They lead the second. Mexico kind of having a team meeting just out of view of that picture right there. How are they going to find some ways to score runs? What could they be doing differently here?
Well, probably take advantage of that positioning for the Venezuela defense. As we see there, Olivia trying to put the ball in a hole there between first and second. But maybe, as we see there, this Venezuela team is playing very, very deep. I know that you cannot, try and repeat the same play always, but maybe that soft touch, kind of a bunt situation there for a team, as that ball probably is not going to be any good for Mexico. Kind of hit off the fingers, not exactly the palm of the hand. Maybe take advantage of how deep everyone's playing and put runners on. Now, when everyone is on, then you can create some chaos, maybe a bad throw, some distraction.
Ochoa hitting it hard, and he will reach. We've talked a lot about how difficult it is defensively to make plays. One thing that we haven't talked about as much is how hard it is to generate power as a hitter. And Tony, have you tried yet? We haven't played together.
Yeah, we must.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's a humbling experience anytime I've tried to hit a baseball 5 ball hard, because you really need your entire body. You're not just swinging the arm and expecting the ball to jump. You need to use your whole body. You see how the players have their different stances, if you will. You have to generate torque, kind of like a tennis player, for lack of a better analogy. There's a lot of hip rotation, and it is a full body sport. So don't just expect for the first time you play Baseball 5 to just grab it and be hitting the ball hard line drives wherever you want. No, it takes a lot of practice, and that's something that these players have done. They've put in hours and hours, hundreds of hours of work practicing their craft, and that's why they're here on this stage, the best in the world. The difference level between the Youth Baseball 5 World Cup and the Open sort of Senior Baseball 5 World Cup, it's not a very big difference. These kids are amazing. Many of them will play in next year's Baseball 5 World Cup. Some even played in last year's, including Olivia Frias for Mexico. She was on the team last year in Hong Kong, China.
And now we see her on the third base area, if you will, of the field, because we've also taken a good look as the Mexican coaching staff, how they are kind of getting those, there's a great play at first, kind of getting those hits off of the left side of the infield. Interesting enough, now as they see Olivia Frias at third, kind of the strategy offensively has changed, as this play over there, an amazing grab by Martinez, Abril Martinez there at first. It seems like they're now trying to avoid hit the ball where Olivia is. So interesting there.
Yeah, they avoid her, but they hit into a double play that ultimately wrecks their chances, Venezuela, of adding on to the 3-0 lead. All 3 runs scored in the top of the first inning, and look where we are, bottom of the fourth. If Mexico's offense doesn't come to life, they may have just 2 innings left in this Baseball 5 World Cup. We could play the entire bronze medal game in less than an hour, and that's why the out was called. Maybe you saw the footwork there for Portales. Her foot was way across the home plate line, and that was the last out. Now Martinez, or apologies, that was Mia Franco, who becomes the first out of the bottom of the fourth. And the Si Se Puede chant coming, but can they?
Yeah, they need base runners, and well, maybe Olivia with her experience, we were talking about those plays. But of course, if that's going to be the defense for Venezuela, now a safe call. And it was interesting because it was kind of a late call. Olivia, her demeanor was kind of a disappointment. She thought it was out, and then when the call safe came, she realized she was off the back, so she had to come back. Kind of a bobble maybe there by the first baseman?
Maybe. I don't think the call is going to be changed. We almost never do get the call changed. But the officials do get together and talk about it sometimes. I love the way they handle it. I really do. But again, 9 out of 10 times, maybe 19 out of 20 times, the original call on the field stands.
Right. And it's interesting because as we see there, the first base official, Ludovic Melier, making the call, he kind of saw maybe a bobble, I want to say, because the left foot is clearly on the base.
It is. And notice there's the yellow square and the white square adjacent to one another. The yellow square, the one in foul ground, that's for the runner.
Right.
The white square on the fair side of the line, that's for the fielder, and it's so they don't collide. A lot of thoughtful details have gone into creating the Baseball 5 court, and that's one of them. Same story at home plate. The runner coming down the third base line doesn't need to step on the white home plate. They need to step on the triangle, which is in foul territory. Again, that way it's to avoid collisions. And some of these details have changed year to year. The rule book continually gets updated. We were given a 3 or 4 page packet of changes to the rule book from last year to this year, and it'll continue to change. Just think about traditional baseball. Do you think the rule book today is the same as it was in 1890? No. The game grows naturally. It evolves on its own. And so I think it's pretty cool that you're here watching this with us, because you're watching the growth of a brand new discipline.
Yeah, and I think that kind of we also take for granted the work the officials have to do here on the field of play. I think it's great that they gather and they try to make it as quick as possible to try and get the correct call on the field, as here Mexico has a chance with 2 runners on. But just the fact that you might get a request for a, maybe an explanation of a rule or of the play by a coach, and then they gather and they try to get correct.
Ochoa hits it on the right side. That was a great pickup and throw to first. Look out. Gamboa comes sliding in. Frias goes down, and we may get a call here of obstruction. I don't think Olivia Frias wants any part of Alexander Gamboa's help as her teammates come over.
Yeah,
I didn't see, sorry, Tony, didn't see any call from an official that she'll be awarded an extra base.
No, just a safe call. And I understand Gamboa running to avoid a throw, maybe avoid disaster, but that was uncalled for, to be honest.
Yeah, that's just not the way. Oh, and there's the splits we've been talking about. I think that might have crossed the line, like you said. I wonder if he's going to stay in this game.
I mean, we were talking about he was probably a bit overexcited, and he's playing with passion. We understand that, but just the fact that they're trying to keep everyone safe. You just talked about how first base is also legal in foul ground, if you will, on a path out to avoid collisions. And now we have a situation where even now some Mexican players and coaching staff, they kind of want the Venezuelan players to stay away, and you see Olivia there. She is in pain. She is definitely in pain. And I'm going to say that also the fact that she has a body built for this situation, as you talked about the split, and she's an athlete.
I don't think she planned on that one, but look at that. Full split.
I mean, that kind of works in her favor in this particular situation, right? Because you and me, I don't think we would have survived that slide from
I would
Gamboa.
never walk again.
Right.
I really don't think I would. Oh, my goodness. And not only did she get up, she's going to stay in the game.
Wow.
She'll be on third base. And this is huge. 3-0 the score. Second and third. 2 outs. Martinez the batter. She looks around at the defensive alignment. Tries the bunt to third base. The throw to first. Out at first base, and that sends this second set into the 5th. It's 3-0 Venezuela. Alexander Gamboa had a long chat with a couple of the officials after that hard play at third. I thought there was a chance he might be removed from the game.
I'm going to probably, I hope I don't cross a line here, but if I were the Venezuela manager, I'd probably take him out of the game just to, blow some steam on the bench, just not put him on the field. At least for the rest of
this set.
Exactly.
If we go to a third set, then maybe you put him back in. He tries the bunt play here. And you think he's going to get a call at first? No.
Oh, no.
Out at first.
And he was a bit frustrated with the call, but quickly you saw the manager there, Ubaldo Zorrilla, tell him, hey, get back to the bench quickly because there's no point of you just talking more to the umpires.
Yep.
Or the field officials in this case.
And that was a fantastic play by Ochoa, who now gets a bare hand on it. Couldn't squeeze it cleanly. But if you're Mexico here, this is a dangerous spot to be in. Down by 3 runs, only 1 inning left to try and pull even. And Venezuela now with a couple of base runners.
And just to finish that thought on Gamboa and what's going on over there at the Venezuela bench, quickly the manager went to him and he said, hey, I don't like this. Stop it.
Yeah.
So, and he said it twice, and I think it was fully understood by the player because one thing is playing with passion and hard, and this pretty much crossed the line.
Now a throw to first for the second out of the inning. Time is going to be called. Time is going to be granted. And if you're the defense now, you don't have to worry about the 2 base runners. You just need to worry about getting the out wherever it's easiest, which is most likely to be first base. And then coming back in the bottom of the 5th, seeing what you can do. Frias makes the catch. And so we go to the bottom of the 5th. It is Venezuela 3, Mexico nothing. And Mexico needs to score 3 runs to keep their chances of winning a bronze medal alive. And we've seen them score runs in bunches before. The inning will start with Mia Franco. Franco hard hit towards third. Diving catch made by Meza. Mexico down to the last 2 outs. Venezuela getting ready to celebrate a potential bronze medal here. Frias is tough. She's going to stay in the game and bat.
Wow. Hats off to her and her experience and just grinding everything out in front of her home crowd.
Not only that, she'll be aboard. I wonder, will she be lifted for a pinch runner? She's still moving pretty well. So no, she'll probably run for herself.
And you see quickly there that quick gathering between Gamboa and Diaz over there saying, hey, if a ball is hit towards your area, let's get the force at second. Let's get the outs to get rid of this inning quick and the game.
That one through the legs at second base. First and second. Right at Gamboa. He couldn't make the play.
And she's not 100%, Craig. Not by any means, yeah.
Yeah.
But again, another split there to keep that foot on the wow.
Incredible. The batter is Ochoa. He hits it hard right side. That's going to rattle around a little bit, and it's bases loaded. The tying run is on first for Mexico in the bottom of the 5th.
Boy, you can feel the tension
right
building up here in the beautiful Parque La Loma.
The crowd keeps growing. People from the park coming to watch. Abril Martinez on the ground to short. Flip to second. Out there. The run scores. Mexico's on the board. Time has not been called. The runners thinking about moving, thinking about it. Coming home. Safe. 3-2. Tying run goes to second, and time has been called. Mexico needs one more to tie it up and force extra innings. We can't even show you the whole replay. I don't think we have time. Oh, we might. As you see Moreno.
Boy, and we talked about this, Craig. I mean, time is not granted even if you call for it, and you see the base runner leave first base, and the safe call at home, that was close, but 3-2. So you're not going to get time if still the play is going.
Right.
So now there's a situation where you have a base runner in scoring position, which pretty much every base here is in scoring position for Baseball 5, but maybe Venezuela getting a little bit greedy there. Yes, 2 outs, they're 1 out away, but boy, if you're going to hit a ball, I'm going to go out here and say don't hit it to the left because Mesa's talented, Gamboa's so quick, and everyone has great hands. You have to be very, very intelligent in this situation as here's the game pretty much for Mexico.
No pressure.
No, none.
Tying run on second, bottom of the 5th. Hit in the air, right side. It takes a hop. The underhand flip. Out the call at first, and Venezuela has won the bronze. 3-2 in the second set. They win in straight sets, and they will celebrate in front of the disappointed home crowd here in Parque La Loma in Tepic, Nayarit, Mexico.
Boy, Mia Franco is frustrated over there. Some tears in the Mexico bench. The idea was not bad. We just said that hitting it to the left side was not a good option. Now to the right side, I'm not exactly sure if she wanted it so softly over there. Either way, it was a very close play at first, and hey, don't take anything away from this Venezuela team. They are very, very good, very, very talented, and deservedly so. They are the bronze winners.
So Mexico will have a fourth place finish after finishing third in the last edition of the Youth Baseball 5 World Cup, and they are going to hear it from their fans who have come out to support. There will be a loud cheer, but a louder celebration for Venezuela. Look at that line score. 3 in the first for Venezuela, 2 in the fifth for Mexico. Not quite enough. Tony, any final thoughts on this bronze medal game?
Boy, what a second set, but what a game overall, and what a tournament for both of these teams. Like you just said, Mexico falling short of hardware in this edition of the Youth Baseball World Cup, but they are in good hands for years to come. And what about Venezuela? Their first ever medal. People will be talking about this team as well soon.
And then there was one game remaining for the title of world champion. It will start in 59 minutes, so 1 hour from now. Chinese Taipei and Cuba. Cuba, the only team to have ever won a Baseball 5 World Cup. Will that story still be true when it's dark in Tepic tonight? Come back and find out if Chinese Taipei can pull off the upset. For my partner Tony Alvarez saying so long for now. We'll see you in an hour for the championship gold medal game.